Members of the House and Senate, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, kumu hinale moana wang kalu.
Ano ai ke aloha ia kākoa pauloi ke ia kakahi a ka aloha. Mahalo anu I ko kākou hui ana ke ia la. Pule kākou ke akua. E ke akua manalo I loko kalani. Ke akua loko maikai ke akua aloha. E haliu mai no oe a ilono no oe I nei leo e hea hea nei no ia oe ke ia hola o kakahi aka. Eia no mākou, kao po e lawehana, kao po e kauwā. Mākou ke ākua ko nei I nei, I ka hale kapitala no hoi o Hawaii nei. E olu mai oe kia kua, e noho mai oe me nei a aha. Ka aha hui pu ia, o keia, ka hale o nā luna maka ainana, ka hale o nā kene koa, ka hale o ke kia aina, me ke kōkua ke kia aina. Mahalo anu ia oe kia kua no ko ho mai kai ani ke ia hale. Mahalo anu ia oe kia kua no ko ho holo mo ana I nā papahana no nā pono a pau o ko Hawaii nei po e oiwi no nā kanaka a me nā lahui e ae a pauloa e noho mai nei Hawaii nei. Mahalo anu ia oe kia kua no ke ia kakahi aka māko e vehe nei I ke ia papahana ia hai kia kua I lohe no māko a pauloa nā mna olana a me nā hana maika ia pauloa e hana ia nei. Mahalo anu ia oe no kou lawe ana mai a māko pakahi a pau maane I nei. Nā ono e ho o ka awale ia māko. Ho o ka awale ke ia hale na ano po e mea lapu ale launa o lili ke ole a pau e ke akua. Nā ono e ho pipiha mai ko māko na au me ke aloha. Ka mai kai. Nā ono e ho o malu I ke ia noho ana. Nā ono e ho o pono pono, nā po e mea a pauloa e pono ai ka ho o pono pono ana. Nā ono e ke akua e ho o nā ina eha eha. Nā ono e ho o ka awale a māko na ano po e mea kupono ole like ole a pau. Ho o mālamlama mai ko māko alahele e ke akua, ai hapai aku no I ko māko na au, no keia muaku, no ka pono o ko Hawaii nei po e a pauloa. Ko māko leo aloha ho I keia, ko māko leo mahalo. Ko māko leo ho nani mililani au ki a oe, maloko kai no ka makua a me ke keiki, a me ka uhane he molele. Amen.
Will the joint session of the 32nd Legislature please come to order? Before receiving the governor's message, I would like to recognize some of our honored guests. First, Lieutenant Governor Michelle Kidani. Oh, sorry. I looked at the wrong chart. Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke. Senate President Ronald D. Kochi. Chief Justice Mark E. Rechtenwald. Chair of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, Ms. Carmen Hulu Lindsay. And other distinguished guests joining us in the House chambers this morning are Jamie Green, wife of Governor Josh Green. Second gentleman, Michael Luke, husband of Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke. Former Governor George Ariyoshi and Mrs. Jean Ariyoshi. Former Governor John Wahe and Mrs. Lynn Wahe. Former Governor Linda Lingo. Former Governor Neil Abercrombie and Dr. Nancy Caraway. From the Hawaii Supreme Court, Associate Justice Paula Nakayama. Associate Justice Sabrina McKenna. Associate Justice Michael Wilson. And Associate Justice Todd Edens. From the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, Admiral John Aquilino. From the U.S. Pacific Fleet, Admiral Samuel Paparo. From the U.S. Army Pacific, Major General Reginald Neal. From the U.S. Marine Corps Pacific, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Johns. From the 14th Coast Guard District, Captain Blake Novak. From the City and County of Honolulu, Mayor Rick Blangiardi. From the County of Hawaii, Mayor Mitch Roth. From the County of Maui, Mayor Richard Bisson. And representing Kauai Mayor Derek Kawakami is Mr. Mike DeHelig. From the Kauai County Council, Chair Mel Raposo. Maui County Council Chair Tasha Kama. Hawaii County Council Chair Heather Kimball. Representing the Honolulu City Council is Councilmember Radiant Cordero. Consul General of Japan, Mr. Yutaka Aoki. Consul General of Korea, Mr. Sok In Hong. Consul General of the Philippines, Mr. Emil Fernandez. Consul General of Australia, Ms. Andrea Gleason. Director General of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office, Mr. Richard Lin. The Chair would now like to appoint the following legislators to escort the Honorable Josh Green, Governor of the State of Hawaii, to the rostrum. On behalf of the House, Representative Nadine Nakamura and Representative Lauren Matsumoto. On behalf of the Senate, Senator Michelle Kidani and Senator Drew Kanuha. The Chair hereby requests the following legislators to present lei to the Governor. On behalf of the House, Representative D. Morikawa, on behalf of the Senate, Senator Donna Kim. Members of the 32nd Legislature, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending our warmest aloha and welcome to the Governor of the State of Hawaii, the Honorable Josh Green.
Aloha. Thank you for that welcome. It warms my heart. Good people of Hawaii, Jamie, Speaker Saiki, Senate President Kouchi, Chief Justice Rechtenwald, OHA Chairwoman Carmen Lindsay, Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke, honorable members of our legislature, colleagues and friends, former governors of our state, I respect you so much. Mayors, your representatives, congressional delegation, foreign dignitaries, and leaders from our public sector and private sectors, mahalo for being here. I appreciate you. It's a great honor to stand before you here and address you as your governor. This is more than just an update. This is more than an update just on our progress as a state. This is our beginning, our huliau, a moment to share our vision and values. Over the past few years, we've come through enormous challenges together. We endured a once-in-a-century pandemic that impacted our way of life, threatened our economy, and robbed us of too many precious lives. We wrestled with a housing crisis. This housing crisis forced too many of our people out of our state in search of economic opportunity or, more importantly, affordable homes. We witnessed the risks and the consequences of an economy that's simply too dependent on tourism alone. And we suffered environmental threats from both pollution and the effects of global climate change. But even in our darkest hours, Hawaii's values shone through. The character and soul of our people has prevailed, and we found a new dawn of hope together. Through these difficult times, we showed that when we stand together, when we put our values into action, we can meet almost any challenge and overcome any problem, no matter how large or difficult it may seem. The people of Hawaii have elected us to lead, and they've given us a clear mandate, and I say us a clear mandate, not me, to act on their behalf, following our common values. It's time for us to move Hawaii forward, and we'll do that by taking bold action rooted in these values that we share. Unity. Governor John A. Burns said it best. In diversity, there can be unity. In division, there is a schism. Hawaii is one ohana, one family, and this is one of our most important values and greatest strengths. In its essence, ohana is a commitment to each other with aloha, respect, appreciation for our diversity, and tolerance of our differences, all in service to the greater good. I know we share that value. It allows all of us to benefit from our different cultures, our perspectives, our lived experience, and that is a different lived experience all across our state. Through this, we forge a single unity of purpose out of the most diverse population imaginable. Look at us, look how diverse. We'll unite and bring all of our strengths to bear on the urgent issues we face with this diversity. This will be one of my most important responsibilities as governor, honestly, to bring people together. I'll unite us as one ohana and always remind us that we're stronger together and that we can accomplish anything when we share a common purpose. A mandate for bold action. The preamble of our Constitution in Hawaii holds that, quote, we reserve the right to control our destiny, to nurture the integrity of our people, our culture, and to preserve the quality of life that we desire. It's not only our right, but our kuleana, our responsibility to take action to control that destiny and preserve the quality of life for our people. Our Constitution gives us this right, And the people of Hawaii have given us, again, us, the mandate and imperative as their elected leaders to do it. So today we need new ideas. We need new solutions and bold action rooted in these shared values once again. So you know me. Business as usual won't work anymore. There's simply too much on the line to accept the status quo. Each day without action means another family is forced to leave to the mainland. Another child is sleeping on the street. Another local business closes, or another precious natural resource is put at risk. Each day without action means we miss another opportunity to heal Hawaii, do what's right and just, and preserve our islands for the future generations. So our administration has already begun to act with urgency since day one. Our state motto says so powerfully, "The life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness." And this is the moment for righteous, bold action rooted in our common values. So I ask everyone here to say yes to the wisdom of guiding us in our Constitution, our motto. And in that mandate the people have given us, say yes to new ideas, solutions, and to putting our values into action. Say yes to achieving goals. Yes to overcoming challenges. Yes, we can make a difference in our communities and the lives of the most vulnerable. And yes to more housing, as we all believe. Yes to more jobs and opportunities for our young residents. Yes to building and leading the world on renewable energy. Yes to lowering the cost of living, which we know is the most important thing that our families wrestle with. And yes to governing ethically together. We owe the people of Hawaii an effective government that takes action. If we accept our kuleana and we follow the mandate we've been given and take rooted action in common values, we'll show the people of our state that we're working for them and they can believe in government once again. So what have we done so far? Today is day 49 of our administration. We've had a little more than 1,000 hours on the job. We've already accomplished a great deal together in a short time. We nominated a cabinet of qualified public servants led by my Chief of Staff, Brooke Wilson. Thank you, Brooke, for that. I appreciate you. We showed respect to our public workers with administrative leave during the holiday season, a move which also supported local spending in our local businesses. We announced a new educator tax credit, which I hope that you guys will believe in, so that our teachers can receive a $500 credit to support the work and investment they put into students in the classroom. Because of your work, we released $50 million in grants and aids to directly support our nonprofits across our state and the service providers for the critical work that they do in our communities. That's credit to you. Thank you for giving us those resources for people who need it. And we've proposed a climate impact fund of $100 million right out of the gate to fight climate change. We've announced the return of over 363 acres to the Hawaiian Homes Commission on Molokai for beneficiaries, and we've signed an agreement with Haneda Airport to streamline travel and promote made-in-Hawaii products and even improve Daniel K. Inouye Airport. We took immediate action to prevent disruption in a healthcare crisis when the service to our rural islands, our rural communities, was threatened when the plane crashed from Hawaii Life Flight. This saved lives along the way. We've been active. Our administration attacks problems. So now's the time to invest in our people and our communities. With this in mind, I'll identify right now several of the priorities our legislature and administration must act on to move Hawaii forward. I take to heart what you are saying. Budget and bill priorities. The legislature on opening day already advanced extraordinary ideas. Our budget will reflect those priorities. We're adding and emphasizing several high priority items related to housing, homelessness, the cost of living, climate, environment, and mental health. Thank you. Some important specifics that you'll see right now. Additional Ohana Zone funding, which puts homeless individuals into permanent housing right away to give them the chance to thrive. You already have supported that. Mahalo. More resources for the Hawaii State Loan Repayment Program to help pay off educational loans for primary care providers and behavioral health providers so that Hawaii remains the health state for generations to come. This investment, once and for all, addresses our healthcare provider shortage. Once and for all, we can not have shortages in our neighbor islands. Thank you for supporting these initiatives. In the health theme, our budget also adds 60 new positions to expand nursing and medical programs across all of the UH campuses, with a special emphasis on behavioral health, which the freshman legislators made it very clear was a priority for them. Mahalo, early legislators. And we also know that there has to be more service in certain parts of our state. So we'll expand the intensive care unit and medical surgical units at Hilo Hospital with a $50 million request for CIP funds. They have great needs on Big Island, and we saw that during the pandemic. Thank you for that recommendation, Big Island. In your wisdom, you created an Office of Wellness and Resilience within the Governor's Office to focus on trauma-informed care. We have put resources in there to make that permanent. And we will have a concerted push to protect our natural environment in partnership with all of the great work that you always have done. We're adding critical mental health resources in our budget for schools and our communities because that's where kids get care. And finally, we'll be supporting our state's priority to make pre-K universally available to Hawaii's families, led by my Lieutenant Governor, whom I think some of you know. Since our inauguration last month, I've been meeting with departments and agencies to insist we break barriers and open doors in the halls of government. I tell them constantly care for people. That's my message. So here's how we're going to start caring for people. Affordable housing. The biggest factor affecting the cost of living in our state, the biggest, is affordable housing. Safe, affordable, and stable housing is a human right. And it's more than just a place to live. It impacts our health, our identity, our sense of belonging. Housing crises are not new. All the way back, May 15th, 1935, the 18th Territorial Legislature created the Hawaii Housing Authority. This basically, as the first body in our island's history, dedicated to addressing the housing needs of our state as a priority. But nearly 9 decades later, we're still working to provide housing for our people. When Governor Burns signed Act 105 into law on June 19th, 1970, which was 5 months after I was born, state government initiated housing and community development on a scale unprecedented in our state. So I suggest we return now to an era of bold housing initiatives. I'm completely aware that you've already begun this fight, but we need a comprehensive approach. It has to continue to housing on all segments of our population, from renters to low to moderate income individuals to families to those experiencing homelessness. That's why our administration is making housing the top priority and committing a comprehensive housing agenda to you. You'll see the details right now. Developing infrastructure from the resources we appropriate for the state is crucial in every way to create adequate housing. But we need to start from the ground to make sure that our infrastructure is built and affordable housing actually gets expedited. We'll also address and improve policies and processes that impede the development of housing. This has become a very big problem, and we can't do this alone. We need a coordinated approach with the counties and our stakeholders. That's why I'm glad they're here today. We need to also make these big investments, but we have to coordinate getting rid of the red tape. So we're proposing over $1 billion of new investment in housing. And I've already heard some of that from you as leaders. To be specific, these funds will be used to support major investments in the Hawaii Public Housing Authority to renovate and upgrade public housing units, to provide state rental subsidies for the low-income families we have, and to boost financing for more affordable units through the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation, HHFDC. You're all familiar with these approaches, but we'll also deliver on the legislature's commitment to fund the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. It's a priority for our administration. I know you want answers. We will work with you to get this done. In addition, new ideas. We propose a state match for the City Affordable Housing Program, which incentivizes the development of more affordable housing rental units in urban Honolulu. Mayor Blangiardi and I are already partnering on our approach day and night to this housing initiative because the crisis is felt most intensely on Oahu, but of course all across our state. So I'll partner with all of our mayors and regularly convene stakeholders across all sectors so we can troubleshoot and streamline the processes to speed up housing. These projects have to go faster. So what you'll see us cutting red tape so we can provide housing as soon as possible. And it will likely require additional action from you and from the executive branch. Please don't doubt the scope of this problem requires both. Now I'd like to talk about housing communities that are homeless-based. We can't forget about our unhoused communities. They're struggling. In the past, efforts to address homelessness has often emphasized enforcement and triage, pushing people from one neighborhood to another, moving people from street or shelter to temporary housing, with many, frankly, finding themselves back right where they started. We've made progress at getting people into homes in recent years, but the number of people on the street, those experiencing unsheltered homelessness, continues to rise, and we see it every day. We need to shift our efforts from temporary fixes to a permanent solution. We need these places immediately. Homelessness should not be accepted as a normal part of our society. It shouldn't be normal to avert our eyes from the suffering of another human being ever. We shouldn't ever need to avoid our public places because homeless citizens have overwhelmed a park or a street or a sidewalk. We've come to accept the silent suffering that goes on for thousands of our people in our parks, along our beaches, even here on the grounds of the state capitol. Our homeless crisis is a strain on our aloha and a threat to our spirit. That's why we're committed to the development of 12 kauhale across our state, 12 kauhale. As you know, kauhale are tiny villages. They're communities where people can thrive. And we send our special respect and appreciation to Twinkle, to Auntie Blanche, to others who have been pioneers in this area. So soon, thank you for them, please. Soon, Hawaii will break ground on a new neighbor island, Kauhale, perhaps in the next 2 or 3 days. This will be at Kukui'ola Emergency Shelter and Assessment Center in Kona. With 64 units, this new Kauhale will meet the housing, social, and healthcare needs of a people there on the street. It will help future residents for years to come, and it will only cost $8,000 per unit. That's about $500,000 in total. Now, for perspective, it costs $322,000 a year to support a person who's suffering with schizophrenia or other mental illnesses at our Hawaii State Hospital. $322,000 per person per year. So for less than the cost of keeping 2 such people out of a hospital for 1 year, we can build an entire community of low-cost permanent housing at Kauhale, just 2 people. Building Kauhale communities takes time. It takes energy, it takes planning, it takes people, it takes passion. It also takes conviction, a commitment to breaking from the status quo. So again, Twinkle Borja and Blanche McMillan, just 2 names among many, are showing what it takes to embrace this village concept to help our people find a permanent home. So to be specific, Our Enhanced Kauhale initiative will follow their example. It will create low-footprint, low-cost housing with a village environment designed for community support, healing, and progress. As long as we are in a housing crisis, we'll treat it like an emergency. So I'm going to do something a little untraditional. I'm going to take action right now with all of you. I've spoken with many of you as leaders. As of this moment, because this is a crisis, in my hand is an emergency proclamation, and I'm signing it for you, for all of us. It goes into effect today. Thank you for that. This emergency proclamation will streamline construction and processes for housing, low-impact housing. It removes unnecessary barriers. It removes red tape. We've done this before together, and it worked. It enables our partners, our community leaders, to tackle homelessness head-on, right quick, affordably. The copy of this proclamation will be delivered to your offices right now. Thank you for working with me on this. The cost of living. 2 weeks ago, I testified in person before the House Finance Committee on the meaning of ALICE, asset-limited, income-constrained, and unemployed people. These are families that are struggling to afford very basic household necessities such as childcare, health care, and transportation. Families who have to choose between buying food or medicine for their families. One paycheck away from a healthcare crisis which would bankrupt them, slipping them deeper into poverty or facing eviction. Our cost of living is the highest in the country, at nearly twice the national average. We all know this. In Hawaii, we should not teeter. None of our people should teeter on the brink of poverty in order to simply provide for their ohana. Our job should be enough to support our families with just one employed person in our family. So, thank you. So here's what we're going to do. Our plan takes the necessary steps to strengthen the health of ALICE families in our communities. The Green Affordability Plan, GAP. It cuts taxes significantly and provides tax relief for people that need it the most. And I was so grateful to hear that in the speech of Speaker Psyche and alluded to by Senate President very passionately just 1 week ago. Give them a round of applause. They're incredible people. So if adopted fully, this package by the legislature, it will provide just over $300 million in tax relief annually to the people who need it the most. This will This tax break will help us get money into the pockets of the working families that I referenced so that they can purchase essential goods and services like food, medicine, and housing as we discussed. And it will in turn stimulate our economy because every single dollar that goes back to an ALICE family will be spent immediately in the economy, immediately. So this proposal follows very specifically the recommendations of the 2020 Tax Commission. So we'll reform our tax code. We do this to provide for a cost of living adjustment in response to recent inflammatory pressures. They were inflammatory, but they're also inflationary, which is really what I meant to say. This plan provides universal tax relief, and let me break it out for you. We shift the tax bracket slightly to ensure that working families aren't burned by inflation. More than double the standard deduction from $2,200 to $5,000. We double the personal exemption from $1,144 to $2,288. Now, it may sound complicated, but it's not. Our current tax structure misses support in many cases for ALICE families. It helps people who are in deep, deep, deep trouble, But in the Alice family sense, it doesn't. And I'm just going to show you just a little bit of what it looks like without dwelling on this, okay? Right now, Alice families are in the middle here. These are people that make between $41,000 and $129,000, depending on how many kids they have. They really struggle to pay their rent, their mortgages, for food. We have a lot of tax breaks for people who are deeply, deeply impoverished. So you can get an idea of what that looks like. If we implement this plan together, this is what it looks like. These are those Alice families, and these are the tax breaks that they would see. It would be tax breaks for every single income bracket in our state. They'd be paying less taxes under this plan. This is where we are focusing our energies. So I reiterate, the Green Affordability Plan directly supports Alice families. This plan makes sure every income bracket does a little better, and it directly lowers Hawaii's cost of living for every single resident. By keeping more money in our pockets for each taxpayer, especially those who are wrestling with survival, this proposal means that a family of 4 in every income bracket can anticipate $2,000 in savings right off the bat for reduced taxes. And lower income families will see even more savings significantly. For many, this is the equivalent of a full extra paycheck every year. In the spirit of what you've been proposing and working on for years, sometimes with me, sometimes with other leaders, the Green Affordability Plan also intentionally rewards families who take care of others, the caretakers, the caregivers, and educators. As I mentioned, it creates a new educator tax credit of $500 per teacher. They can help their students. It provides our hardest hit residents a renter's credit of $350. It also makes the food excise tax credit available to a full third of all taxpayers and expands the earned income tax credit from 20% to 30% of the federal amount. We will also take bold action to expand something important, the Child and Dependent Care Tax Credit. Now, under this proposal, working families paying for daycare, babysitters, summer camps, after-school care, care for support that is needed when families are working, and people who have adult daycare individuals in their family, they'll be eligible for up to $10,000 to offset the costs of the fees that are going into all of that care. Now, this will provide huge relief for working families and help reduce the choice that they face. They have to face the choice of whether to start a family or invest in a career. That choice won't be before them if they're able to have this tax credit. Now, how can we afford this? Well, this plan doesn't just make it easier for Alice families. This plan goes to the core of what economic growth has to be. This plan will grow our economy. It ensures healthier kapuna. Our keiki are healthier, they have more care. It reduces the burden placed on family caretakers all across our state. This way, they don't have to choose between a job, childcare, rent, or health care, or even between school supplies and dinner. So the Green Affordability Plan, our plan, is essentially relief from the economic burdens faced by all of the families who are right now choosing to leave our islands. We thought long and hard about this, how resources should be allocated and invested, and these are our state priorities. So when we invest in families, when we invest in our future, and our return on investment is unlimited, as it will come back to us tenfold. Now, as you can see, I feel that the people of Hawaii deserve generational tax reform, and I think this is the time to do it with a new legislature, a new governor coming out of the pandemic. All the stars have aligned for us to take action for people. And what this will do will help us build a more equitable future where our people can be productive and secure. A future where residents are not one paycheck away from crisis. A future where our priorities reflect actually our values, and that we can all rise together as one ohana. That's what this plan is about. Our climate crisis. Tax relief provides immediate support to our families across the state, but we also need to take action to protect our environment and our planet, which is why we have direct and long-term effects constantly on the horizon. Even as our economy is struggling, we have to look to the future for climate response. This is why addressing climate change today is most important. So the impact of climate change is wide-ranging. As an island state, climate change does so many things. It threatens our economy, our culture, our environment, and really the sustainability of our way of life. So you heard me commit $100 million for climate impact funds steered by a Climate Change Mitigation and Adaptation Commission. So it's not just my ideas, it's the ideas of those who know about the environment. But we're committed. That must be the chair of that committee. But we're committed to broader strategies on climate change, strategies that are equitable, culturally and responsive to a resilient future. And this includes looking at resiliency of the power grid, renewable energy, sustainable transportation, land use planning, sea level rise, the health and how it's impacted by the environment, natural and cultural resource impacts, and frankly, much more. So we've dedicated these resources in a vital effort, but we can't do this alone at all. So this fund, which I do believe is a necessity, will be open to contributions from anyone, whether they are local or from around the globe. This is our opportunity to seek resources on the impact of tourism. Now let's break this out a little bit. The revenues generated from visitor impact fees should fortify all of our efforts to protect Hawaii's people and our way of life. And we'll continue to take the impacts of climate change seriously. I support any plan that gets us to a place where resources come from the impact of travelers to protect our environment. Thank you, Senate President, for expressing those good ideas. Economic development. Our administration will work to ensure that our economy does several things. Fosters prosperity for all of our people, creates opportunities for our keiki, protects the unique character of Hawaii, and finally strengthens and supports all of our shared values. So we're not going to sit passively on the sidelines any longer when it comes to our economic development. We'll reach out to beyond our shores and seek opportunities for our people. In doing so, we'll fulfill the promise that Governor Burns saw for our state. And in his words, Hawaii will finally assume our rightful place in the Pacific Sun. We're the center of the Pacific, linking Australia, New Zealand, Taiwan, Japan, Korea, and the broader United States. In the coming years, I hope to reposition our economy to pursue global opportunities. We retool tourism, develop green technologies, and expand our reach into international markets better than ever for our small businesses and also our world-class professional sector. Now, how do we do this? We do this by being bold. We'll have to move beyond an economy of pure tourism, and we have to become energy independent, as you all know. We fulfill this potential as an economic, renewable energy leader in the Pacific. We've already, in the first 49 days, been doing something. We've been working with partners across the globe, Japan, local businesses, and key sectors from Hawaii's economy, like the international wedding industry, which also brings in 20% of all the visitors from Japan. We're working with them to change the way we view our traditional economy. And welcoming more visitors like our Japanese neighbors means we can generate much more revenue for local businesses while taking in fewer tourists overall. That's tourism management. But we're also working on new plans to increase the export of locally made and locally grown products with our regional partners. Despite being the 41st largest state by population, we rank last of all U.S. states in overall economic exports, a statistic that has to change. So our economy is rife with untapped potential. We'll encourage small businesses and professional service sectors to seek new markets beyond our islands. Health tourism should be among that. But we'll strengthen, most importantly, Native Hawaiian-owned businesses. Thank you. By supporting Native Hawaiian-owned businesses, we support Hawaiian agricultural food products like taro, breadfruit, sweet potatoes, and we promote indigenous farming practices to keep our people physically, mentally, and spiritually nourished. Diversifying our crops expanding on ag with food systems that actually help us connect with the land and each other, helps us grow in ways that we haven't done before. We eat together, we grow foods together, we deepen our connection to our INA. This is critical for our state. By advocating for our local interests and through dialogue with our partners, we can create many more opportunities for Hawaii. I'm pleased to share that we're doing something right now. It's an initiative with the federal government, our community, and international partners to pursue investment in cutting-edge hydrogen technologies for Hawaii. Through cooperation with partners, I'm going to give you the highlight here, through cooperation with partners in Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and the Congress, this technology can help stabilize the Pacific energy resilience that we need. It promotes our defense infrastructure and reduces our reliance on fossil fuels. To that end, we're preparing right now a historic application to potentially bring over $1 billion in federal and private sector investments to our state through our regional hydrogen hub. The integration of hydrogen technology into our grid, along with, well, continued expansion of traditional renewables, solar, wind, all of the infrastructure, gives utilities, businesses, and local talent an international advantage. With the potential to turn our state into a regional energy exporter, we change the whole model of our economy. Through proactive efforts like these are just a few examples, Hawaii can lead our Pacific neighbors into the future. This is not just through defense initiatives, which are critical to us, but through greater economic, energy, and cultural integration. This is our future. So as you see, what we'll be doing is leveraging climate investments, renewable energy and environmental expertise, and our unique geographic position, our location, to achieve even greater economic diversification. This is one of the ways we escape from a full reliance on tourism. Now, please indulge me as I talk about major projects. We also need to address two major projects at least, the stadium and a new correctional facility. We all want a stadium, a place where we can be proud of our sports teams. We want a stadium for our university, our families, our keiki, and our broader community. Now, when the Aloha Stadium first opened in central Oahu on September of 1975, it was a great triumph. We won 6 of our last 8 games that season. We had a new coach. I'll tell you this, we had 40,585 people in the stands on that last game against Tennessee. And the Pittsburgh Steelers that year won their first of their 6 titles. But for a project of this size, we have to be thoughtful, thorough, and analytical. We've already addressed the benefits of a public-private partnership in the future development of the Aloha Stadium, but such a partnership will only work if the state gets a fair deal. We're carefully reviewing our options. We're working with colleagues because we know that there is some conflict, and we'll find the best option to go forward to make this a reality for our people. We can't afford to wait. Has been pointed out by dear friends. We can't afford to wait because the longer the delay, the higher the cost. We have to support this stadium with economic activity all around it. The same goes for replacing the obsolete OCCC. To replace the OCCC, we need to build a modern, new correctional facility that's safe, secure, and humane. It has to have the capacity to provide rehabilitation, counseling, education, job training opportunities to inmates, and at the same time protect us, protect our kids. Almost all of those convicted of nonviolent crimes and held in our correctional facilities will someday return to our communities and will be living alongside us as our neighbors. We must move forward with restorative approaches to justice rather than strictly punitive ones. As my administration reviewed the details of these projects, we saw that previous legislatures provided general fund monies to begin the construction of a new stadium and plan the construction of the new jail. We'll work with you on projects of this size hand in hand. We have to work together to reach consensus because these two projects will have to be debated seamlessly between us. We have to get it right. Again, our goal will be to secure the best deals for our state and get these projects moving forward as quickly as possible. I am there with you 100% of the way. Just a little more to share. Accountable government. Our state deserves transparent and accountable government. We agree on this. Without good governance, without trust, without ethical standards, how can we truly serve the people and make progress for our state? Corruption from the past must be taken seriously and rooted out. The abuse of power is an affront to all the people of Hawaii. They tell us that day in and day out. And corruption was the basis of widespread pessimism, which people expressed openly across our state. To be a public servant is to be responsible. It's a privilege, and we carry with this privilege a full responsibility for everyone around us. So I've directed our new Attorney General to take seriously corruption and ethics reform in our state and county government. Now, what does this mean? I agree with the recommendations of the House Commission to improve standards of conduct. And it's time to, quote, as they said, rebuild integrity and trust in government. I look forward to working with the legislature in every way on taking a course of action, and I'll sign any common sense legislation that achieves anything meaningful from ethics reform standards in our state government. I am there again with you 100% of the way. So as you can see, we'll hold everyone in Hawaii to this high standard of ethics and accountability, and the federal government also and its institutions are no exception. We must hold the U.S. Navy accountable for the environmental disaster at Red Hill and shut it down for good. To be blunt, Hawaii must never again risk any leaks or spills of any toxic substance into our water supply. This means that any entity or organization that wants to operate in our state must fully understand, respect, and comply with the absolute commitment that Hawaii will not tolerate pollution for our water. The current oversight of Red Hill is not strong enough. I just need to be direct about this. Like so many citizens, I was not satisfied with last week's presentation from the Navy and the EPA, and I say that with respect. The Navy needs to be 100% transparent with us and open with the public and their elected leaders, which is all of us in this room. Our administration intends, thank you. To be specific on how we'll approach this, our administration intends to approach Red Hill like we dealt with the pandemic, with continued monitoring, continued updates, continued analysis, and transparent updates so people can see what is actually happening. Enhanced oversight, these frequent updates, and constant communication about the draining of the tanks, the quality of our water around them in the community, the progress to permanently close Red Hill will all be led by our Deputy Director of Health in partnership with the Board of Water Supplies leadership, and I will be there every step of the way beside them. So forgive me, get used to some more whiteboards on these matters. Finally, I've tasked our Attorney General with a real problem to address a chilling reality that was described in the Missing and Murdered Native Hawaiian Women and Girls Task Force report, which found that Native Hawaiian girls, women, were experiencing gender-based violence at rates disproportionate to any other population. The very recognition of this matter is a critical first step towards reckoning with the depth of this horrifying issue, and we're committed in our Attorney General's office to providing the resources to end these crimes against Native Hawaiian women. Thank you, Anne, for leading this charge. When it comes to governance, sunlight, open windows, and plenty of fresh air are the best disinfectants we have. Don't freak out here. This is why I agree with the call from the Civil Beat Law Center for our administration and their partners. Our government documents have to be easily accessible and available and virtually cost-free to obtain. We're going to make that happen in our administration. We need to build trust and to do what we can to be open and transparent all the time and accountable to the public. That's a commitment I give from our administration. A culture of public service. Over the last few weeks, the legislature has conducted many important informational briefings with our new cabinet nominees. As we lean into our first legislative session together, this administration comes to you in a spirit of full collaboration. You have my cell phone. Our nominees are stepping forward in a time of great adversity. Times are tough. You know that as elected officials. They are willing to dedicate themselves heart and soul to the work of the people of Hawaii. And several critical members of our cabinet and our government will require absolutely confirmation by the Senate in the coming weeks. Thank you, colleagues, for that work. But government in Hawaii cannot function without these people, without qualified and dedicated people, a core of public servants to administer all that we come up with together to implement our mandates and priorities, all the work that you will do in these next 100 days. So I extend my gratitude to our cabinet nominees who have stepped up to serve. They are leaders in their fields. They have great experience. They're often willing to sacrifice enormous time with their families and other professional opportunities for a life now of public service. So I'd like to especially congratulate and welcome our many new women and Native Hawaiian leaders. They will smash the remaining glass ceilings of public service, and I'm honored to sweep up the debris behind them. I want you to know I've set a high standard for all of our nominees. None of us can actually meet all of the expectation of us as legislators. But they're already meeting with you. They're exceeding my expectations as a new governor because of how hard they work and how much they care. So the Senate will now vet them and confirm them on their ability to do the job, I hope. There are moments when nominees can become collateral damage from potential disputes that have gone way back for us politically, though we've done what we can to heal any rifts that we ever had. But their ability to work and their commitment to getting things done in Hawaii is critical. I would say this: any conflict, chronic or acute, and dysfunction amongst branches of government is not going to be good for any of us, especially when it doesn't serve the interest of the people. I need these folks working. I nominated them because they can get the job done in their disciplines, and we will work together to make sure that happens. So I ask you to let them do just that. Mahalo for considering all of these nominees. Now, with due diligence, I ask you confirm them, but I will work with you day and night to make sure we are a responsive, powerful, impactful government. They will make Hawaii proud. They're making me proud. And they, like you, are public servants. So we ask each other to respect our team, your teams, as they step forward into these roles. This is Hawaii's team. Thank you for this consideration. Our dream and our destiny. Today we find ourselves at a crossroads, a turning point in our history. We face enormous challenges as a state, and the strain of these challenges is slowly eroding the hopes and the dreams of our people. Thousands of families are voting with their feet, choosing to leave our islands in search of affordable housing and economic opportunity. Thousands more live in our streets, suffering without help, without hope, despairing for a better tomorrow. Climate change and industrial pollution threaten our permanently degraded land and resources. These are tragedies which must not stand by and be witnessed idly without doing everything in our power to change. Ultimately, we're not going to be judged by our words or our rhetoric. We're going to be judged by our actions and our accomplishments. How will we secure the health of our state? How will we nurture the integrity of our people and culture? How will we create the quality of life that we desire? We will do it together, as one Ohana, united by our shared values. We must provide economic relief that I described and restore hope to our people. We must restore the health of our land and our water. We must redeem the promise of Hawaii. In pursuit of these goals, here and now, we commit ourselves to 4 years of decisive action, making progress every single day and never giving up. Hawaii's people deserve ambitious goals, big dreams, and bold action. The less foresighted may label us dreamers for expressing what may be regarded as overly grandiose thoughts. Governor Burns said that. But dream we must, as we must pursue these dreams with vigor and energy if we are to attain the greatness that is so patently the destiny of Hawaii's people all across our state. Governor Burns was right. Hawaii's destiny is greatness, a greatness born of shared values, a greatness of family, community, and love, of rich diversity, tolerance, and unity, of commitment, responsibility, and hope, of reverence for our natural and cultural heritage and our shared history. We are the inheritors of this dream and this destiny. Together, we will fulfill our destiny. Together, we will realize our dreams, and together, we will live up to the promise of Hawaii. Mahalo, and thank you for the honor to serve.
Thank you, Governor Green. I would like to cite two specific examples of how I will commit my personal support in working with you going forward. I have never made the top 10 best dressed lists in any kind of fashion competition, but I want you to know that I chose the tie with intentionality this morning, and it's buried in the lace. But it's a green tie for Governor Green and the Green Plan going forward as showing a sign of my support. The second is when the governor talks about 100% renewable as the goal. Currently, in my district, the islands of Kauai and Ni'ihau, they are in for a permit for a pumped storage energy plan out in West Kauai. If approved by 2025, Kauai will have achieved a 90% renewable energy provision to the grid on Kauai. And so the goal is attainable, and my personal commitment is not to stop to take care of my district, Governor Green, but to continue to have Kauai work with you and your team to bring those kind of numbers to the rest of the state. Last Wednesday, when we convened in the Senate, I wanted to be cautious, and we opened at 60% and invited cabinet members, the military, and the Counselor Corps, but we had no one from the private sector on our floor. So in closing, I would like to look to the private sector people who are here today. When the pandemic hit and we were faced with what seemed like an insurmountable challenge, you responded in such an incredible way. And so quickly with nonprofit leadership from Hawaii Community Foundation, all of the banks putting aside the competition for customers and pooling their resources to help us, the hospitals putting aside their competitive issues and working together for all of the people of Hawaii. And I appreciate that I have a chance to say to all of the private sector businesses, the nonprofits, and most importantly, each of you have stories of the unsung heroes in your communities, individuals who stepped forward during the pandemic and helped others in their community to make sure that nobody was left behind. Big thank you. And I commit on behalf of the Senate, and I am confident of the commitment of the House, that we will replicate what we did together in collaboration during the pandemic. The challenges that the governor has outlined are greater than any one of us individually could overcome by ourselves, and it's only in that collaboration that we will succeed. So, Governor, you have the full support of the Senate as we go forward. I declare the joint session adjourned.